Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to 49ers Coast to Coast. I'm West Coast Grant. That's East Coast Jason. We're 2 minutes late. It was my fault. I was just driving home from Santa Clara where the 49ers practice today. They play in a couple of days. And we're going to give a big picture look at the 49ers, what the realistic expectations should be for their season this year. But first, there's important news. And first, Jason, it's just fantastic to see you. How are you? You look peppy.
I'm great, and I that's a joke because I definitely don't, and that's really funny and everything as well. But football is actually here. I can't believe that we're discussing week one and there's actual football on the TV right now. I can't even believe that this is what's happening now.
Oh, there's a game right now?
Yeah, at 8:30.
Oh, we're going head to head. That was a mistake. Oh well, let's.
It's the Cowboys. Nobody cares.
Who cares? Okay, let's talk about three knees in question right now.
Mm-hmm.
Three injuries, three knees in question. We're going to go one by one. It's Emanuel Mosley, Javon Kinlaw, Jalen Hurd. Let's start with Emanuel Mosley. He hasn't practiced the last 2 days. I didn't know anything was wrong with him until they signed Josh Norman. That was a sign that someone had messed up or gotten hurt, and it was Mosley. So he was in a cold tub today, in an ice tub today. What do you think about the timing and the implications of this injury?
Well, the 49ers did a great job of bringing in Josh Norman, who, again, nobody expects him to be what he was when he was in Carolina. But as far as depth goes and teaching guys, that's great. And you know me, I'm a big proponent of track record. Everybody's like, oh, well, Derrick Henry, stiff arm him. Derrick Henry does that to everybody. His job's not to tackle. So if he's there and he's depth, that's fine. Also, the 49ers are not going to really need him in week one if push comes to shove. No disrespect to Tyrell Williams or Amon-Ra St. Brown or, Quintez Cephas, but those guys don't really yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I don't really think that it's going to be too big of a deal if he misses this one game. This is a good enough time for him to rest up, get ready. But again, this depth is going to be tested. It's going to be interesting to see who's going to be the first off the bench if Mosley does not play. Will it be Demo Lenore or will it be Josh Norman right away? I think that's what's going to be interesting. As Dante Johnson's on the practice squad, he would have probably been the best bet if he was on the 53.
Yeah, this kind of concerns me in the sense that the Niners do a really bad job, intentionally or unintentionally, of like conveying the seriousness of the injuries of their DBs. Like when Tart went down, I figured, he'll be back. He's going to get a ton of money this offseason. It took him like a year to get back, and the Niners were like, oh, yeah, did we not say that it was a really serious injury? I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm just naturally skeptical now.
Yeah.
But the fact that, I don't know, he missed the first part of camp. He had a hamstring injury. Now he has a knee injury. He's never really been a full-time starter for a 16, 17 game season. I mean, we were all saying, the Niners are one injury away to Jason Verrett from being in a bad spot, but maybe Mosley's the one who's going to be in and out this year.
It'll be one of those two. Again, this is why I was pounding the table. Sign AJ Boye, sign Steven Nelson, sign someone, because, and then it push came to shove and they went and got Josh Norman, which I don't hate at all. I mean, people can make all the jokes that they want about him being washed. That's fine. But we're not asking him to be what he was back then. So that's why I don't really have an issue with it. And I like it for depth. He can teach guys as well, too. That's really important.
And I think what you see here is like, it's really hard to get corners at this time of year. Josh Norman's the best you could do right now. I think the Cardinals are a good team. They might have the worst starting corners in the league, and there's nothing they can really do about it. No. They got Byron Murphy and Robert Alford, and that's about it. So it's like at that position, it seems like if you don't spend a first or second or maybe a third round pick on that position that year, you're just kind of rolling the dice with what you got or what you can get like at the goodwill of football.
And notice how when we're talking about next man up, there's one name that is not brought up at all. Ambry Thomas.
Ambry, yeah. Yeah. It seems like a lot of these, maybe even Trey Lance, these rookies who didn't play last year, struggling. Penei Sewell, Ambry Thomas. I didn't think Trey Lance struggled in camp, but he completed 45% of his throws in preseason. Are there any guys who took the year off? Jamar Chase is another one who are just killing it so far.
I don't think so. Not that I could think of at the top of my head now.
Interesting. Anyway, Lil Lord Stewie says, was the Harbaugh era better than the Shanahan era? And continued, and how much longer does Kyle have before they fire him? And who is faster, Trey or Colin? Okay, hold on.
One at a time.
Was the Harbaugh era better than the Shanahan era? 3 straight NFC Championship games. I mean,
one Super Bowl.
Yeah. And continued, how much longer does Kyle have before they fire him? I mean, making the playoffs this year would help. I don't. Yeah. You never want to test Jed on that one, but probably at least a couple years.
And remember, he's tied to Lance. They're not going to just, throw him away when he's reset his clock. He's got 3, 4, 5 years now with Lance to get it right. So at least at the bare minimum.
Final thing, who's faster, Trey or Colin?
That you're going to have to try to answer, because all I could do is watch on TV, when I saw Colin, and you've been in camp for both of those guys. I can't speculate on that one. I'll say Trey right now because it's recency bias, but I think that's kind of downplaying how fast Colin was in his day.
Yeah, Trey Lance I think has more gears when he runs. Like he can downshift and upshift.
Colin's just a strider.
Yes, but that stride, as a former track runner myself, I was always just in awe of the way he ran. And I think like miles per hour tracking wasn't a thing back as much when he was playing. So we don't really know, but he looked like he might have been able to hit 22 miles an hour. It might have been
gazelle, Colin. Like he was, and it was very effortless with Colin. Like when he hit that hole, it was just like, that's it. Stop chasing him. You're not going to catch him.
He had the build like the kind of guy who could have won state in California running the 400 meters. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think he probably could have done that. I don't know if Trey Lance could. Maybe Trey Lance could have done that too. They're both good basketball, really similar athletes. Although I think Lance is better. Remember when Kaepernick was Lance's age, he was what? Junior at Nevada, something like that.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Knee number 2, Javon Kinlaw. Now they listed him as a limited participant today. There's a gray area with limited. I mean, Trey Lance is limited. He's doing everything in front of the media. Javon Kinlaw is limited. He stretches and goes off and rehabs. What are we thinking here?
They knew that this was going to happen with the arthritis and all. And Kinlaw going on Instagram and saying, I have no injury. It just only adds more question marks to the entire situation, right? So, I mean, I'll take him at his word saying that he's not injured. But again, as far as the 49ers go with the way that they're disclosing injuries and how they deal with it, it's not always what they say right away. Like, again, I mean, with the Trey Lance thing, I was worried more, that it was like a 4 to 6 week injury, but apparently he's throwing the football and he's fine now, with the cracked finger. So I think we just have to kind of hope and pray that everything's okay with him, because, not only getting rid of Buckner, but then letting Tristan Wirfs go ahead, right, of you. Yeah, right there. Like those are going to be the things that Kinlaw, unfortunately, is tied to, right? These are the things that people are going to bring up that entire time about that, right? And for them to draft someone who has those knee problems, which were documented in college, and then to have it flaring up, people are going to start to speculate, talk, and stuff like that. So I'm going to side with Kinlaw here. If he says no injury, then I'm riding with it. I just really think he's super important to what they want to do. And with everybody else being healthy, this is his perfect opportunity right now to show out. This is your time. Bosa, Ford, not supposed to be on a pitch count. Armstead, all those guys, you're gonna get your shots one-on-one. So if you really want to make this happen, if you really want to start to improve, you're gonna get a really good look at it with the way that other teams are gonna attack those other pass rushes on that defensive line.
Yeah, it's trending to me like he's not going to play in this game, or if he does, he'll play very little. Thank God
they're deep.
Thank God they're deep, right? But just in terms of Kinlaw, the way this offseason has been going for him, I've been thinking, man, this is bad luck, and he can't catch a break. But now I'm starting to step back and think that this is kind of his pattern. If you look back at the totality of what he's done since college, like he left the Senior Bowl early because of this. He had a great week at the Senior Bowl, but couldn't finish it. And the Niners bet on what he showed before he had to leave. And this is kind of, I mean, it's actually remarkable that he made it through 4 or 5 months last year before getting hurt, which he did get hurt at the end. And it's kind of amazing that he keeps re-injuring it this year. So besides the fact that they took a defensive tackle who wasn't like a super refined pass rusher at the top 15 pick, they messed up by taking another guy with like a chronic injury. That's the lesson here. And it's like, if this season goes sideways and they have to hold someone accountable, I don't see how you don't hold the general manager accountable for some of these things. I mean, it's not just that you missed. It's like a knee again, and he had it, and you knew it, and you thought it would be okay. So I think this is very serious. I'm not saying that like fire John Lynch right now, but I think it's very serious what's going on here. Like this is your first round pick. And yeah, it's great that you have depth here, but like the general manager is still responsible for this.
There's a lot of misses in the early rounds, and the third knee is the one that's still going to stand out the most when we get to it.
Let's talk about it right now. The third knee, Jalen Hurts. Okay, Mosley doesn't participate. This is new. Kinlaw's out there stretching, limited. Hurd, not there. And it's like the biggest freaking shock of all time, right? Like he just slid in at the buzzer, got his guaranteed salary, and now I don't know. What do you think about this one?
This is as the do not practices pile up, the more frustrating this pick becomes. And I know how you like to joke about, is he a figment of our imagination? Is he though? Because I don't know if he's really actually a football player, and I don't know. Like, and you know what, people? This is the comparison that really is kind of really frustrating to me of people on Twitter. Oh, remember, people thought the same thing with Jason Verrett. But look when they stuck with him and look what they got. Jason Verrett played football. He's actually played in games and played well. He is not a figment of preseason and 11 on 11s at this point.
That's right.
It's just, look, I don't want to be harsh on the kid because nobody wants to be injured, right? Like, this is just his body, like the way it's responding, right? Look, cut Jalen Hurts, sign John Brown, sign Daz Newsome, sign somebody who can actually help this team. I'm tired of hearing about, oh man, he's the X factor, all this potential. It's not happening. It's not happening. He's had 2 years to get it right, and he's still not healthy. Stop telling me that Jalen Hurts is some unlocked thing that wait till Shanahan unleashes Hurts. He has to actually be active on game days one day and not in the preseason. It's a frustrating pick. I'm not going to talk about who they should have picked because everybody knows who they should have picked at this point. But goodness, again, like you're talking about misses. And for every Fred Warner, every George Kittle, we go back and we're like, Jalen Hurts, Mitch Wisnowski, these are 3rd and 4th round picks. You're supposed to hit on these. I get what you were going for, but at what point do you just chalk it up as a loss and let it go? Let somebody else deal with it. I heard that Carolina would have been very much in on Jalen Hurts. I don't care. I don't think that there's going to be some sort of resurgence of Jalen Hurts in Carolina or somewhere else where he's like, oh, man, look, they let him go. I doubt that's going to happen. If he turns into a serviceable, solid football player, fine. But this idea that people have in their head of Jalen Hurts being this unbelievable gem who's going to transform himself, no. First, let's just get him active before we start jumping into that conclusion. I'm just tired of this pick right now, and it's frustrating. And it has to be frustrating for 49er fans, especially the people who keep clamoring for this kid.
What surprises me most about this whole thing, the Jalen Hurts experience, is that they're basically carrying 52 players on this team right now. Why? It's like if you want to keep him, put him on IR because he's not going to play in this game on Sunday. He doesn't look like a guy who's going to play anytime soon. He can't even stretch. So put him on IR or cut him. You should have cut him. I don't know why, because keeping him cost you your kick returner.
Right, and that's what I was going to say. So now what they'll do is they'll probably just healthy scratch him for the game and then call up Travis Benjamin. And in that case, you should have kept Simba Webster, right. Honestly. And I know what, Simba Webster is just a guy you guys found Jalen Hurts on it. So he's really on this roster right now in the 53 because it was a 3rd round pick. If Jalen Hurts was somebody that they found, undrafted free agent or something like that, he would have been cut off this team, gone. But again, it goes to show you the patience that's shown with certain players and the patience that's shown with not everybody. Because I don't know why this kid, it's kind of baffling to me because even when he did practice, wasn't like he was separating. And in the game, he dropped passes, wasn't separating, has no burst, explosion. I hate to keep piling on the kid, but this one is just frustrating. It's just a frustrating pick, especially knowing what we know now about who they could have had.
Yeah, and not having Jalen Hurts isn't going to sink this team.
No.
So in the big scheme of things, this is okay. And not having Javon Kinlaw won't sink this team because, as we said, there's a lot of players as good or better than him on this roster. Of the 3 knees, the one that is most concerning for the 49ers is Mosley's. And easily. I have no idea how serious is it. Let's assume it's not serious, but he's the most important player of those 3 because not because he's the best. Although he might be, it's just because
he's vital. He's vital, though.
And
then the depth behind it, you can still get away with Javon Kinlaw on limited snaps while he nurses himself back because DJ Jones is so good. They've got so many guys who are really good and that could step in and fill in admirably. With Emanuel Mosley, now you're starting to get into that scary territory we've been talking about. And with Jalen Hurts, he's not even going to be active on game days. I don't understand what is the point right now at this point. Like I don't get it, man. He doesn't practice. He doesn't play in games. What would you say? You do here. Just indulge me. Okay. Tony says thanks, Peter King. I don't know why, but we can say thanks, Peter King. What did Peter King do? I think Peter King was the one that was like clamoring for him, and he loved the pick, and he was just like, "Oh my God, they got a great steal." Meanwhile, the kid from Ohio State just dropped, and he was 2 picks behind.
Okay, big picture this season. What are realistic expectations for the 2021 49ers in your opinion?
A double-digit win team, 10 to 12 wins, and a playoff berth. And I think that that's a successful season. I know the 49er fans want to win a Super Bowl, but I think that, well, here's what I'm going to
No,
tell you.
I totally agree with you, but I think it's so interesting is that is not the team's expectation. I'm there.
No, that's
that
fine.
Is not their expectation. I'm like,
that's fine.
They legitimately think they're going to win the Super Bowl, and the fans.
That's fine.
Yeah,
and they should, and there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong for fans to think that, because you have to remember things that happen along the way make Super Bowl winners, right? The Bucs didn't come out of the gate smoking everybody. They got it together at the end of the year, and that's the thing. It's like things will happen. There'll be injuries that happen along the way to other teams. It's going to change the dynamic of the NFC as well, too. We're not going to know until we really strap this thing up and play some games anyway. But realistically, what's a successful season for the 49ers would be double-digit wins, a playoff berth, and Trey Lance trending in the right direction, meaning he's played in some games. He looks like he's showing his promise, maybe taking his lumps, but he's moving in the right direction up. And that's really what the 49ers fans should consider a successful season in my book. It shouldn't be Super Bowl or bust, because if they win a wild card game and lose in the division or something like that, I still consider that a successful season. You have everything moving in the right direction with your franchise guy. I can't see how that's a bad thing. Like, fans shouldn't be disappointed if they don't win it all.
Agree, but I feel like there's two different timelines for this team, and it's like it's hard to the fan base and the team is split on what the timeline is. You and I kind of look at it as like, well, the future's here. You don't have to start Trey Lance week 1, but by the end of the season, he's your starting quarterback, and it's all about the future. This locker room doesn't feel that way. And it's like, look, in 2019, when they went to the Super Bowl, I don't think they saw themselves as a Super Bowl contender week 1. Right. When they looked up at 8-0 and they were like, damn, this is easy. I think we're going to do this.
Yeah.
But what happened was, I've never seen a team do this. Tell me if you've ever seen a team do this. They lose the Super Bowl, but the whole locker room's convinced they should have won. And they carry themselves like they're champions. Can you think of it like a team that has done that? It's a very unusual thing. Kittle, all these guys carry themselves.
They're just like, we're coming right back.
We won in 2019, and we're going to show it. And 2020, like, there was a million things. We're going to show it now. We're going to show it in 2021. And that to me is a little bit of the disconnect. Is like today, they're having interviews, and two different players bring up 2019. Unprompted, and every time I hear it, I'm like, oh my god, like,
let it go.
Stop.
Yeah,
that's 2 years ago. Why are we assuming that has more to do with you than last year? And just make 2021 special anyway.
No, well, here's the thing too about 2019, and I think that this is another thing that people forget and gloss over. 2019 had a special set of circumstances that led to it, right? The 49ers start 8-0. They start to show that they're dominant. They can win games. They win a crucial game in Seattle, which puts them in home field. Then the team that they didn't want to face, the Saints, get bounced. Almost an easy path to the Super Bowl. You knew that the Vikings couldn't beat them, and you knew that the Packers couldn't beat them.
The Vikings were gassed too.
Yeah,
it was their second road game on the road in the playoffs. They're done.
You knew that was going to happen, and I think that people discount the fact that everything lined up perfectly. And sometimes that's how you get to the Super Bowl and win Super Bowls is when all those things line up.
You seize your moment.
And for you to expect that off the bat, just based on, I don't know if you can expect that. That's my point about realistic expectations. Yeah, a lot like realistic expectations, right? So let's just say, look, God forbid,
the quarterbacks they face in 2019 start.
That's it, right? So they start off the schedule and they run through everybody. Yeah. But like, what about this year? Like, let's say this year something happens where Russell Wilson tears his ACL. Now the Seahawks are out. They have no chance of doing anything. Or if Aaron Rodgers goes down with a shoulder injury, now the Packers are out. Yeah, right. So again, we don't know what's going to happen, and we can't say for sure if the 49ers are going to win a Super Bowl, but it's going to take things like that along the way while playing very well, because circumstances change throughout the season. The team that
it's going to take Jimmy Garoppolo taking a leap or Trey Lance taking a leap, something like that too.
The team that you see in week 18 now is not going to be the team that you see week 1. And that's just war of attrition, injuries, guys playing themselves in and out of the rotation. That's the thing. So circumstances change, and the good teams capitalize on those moments when they're thrown in front of them like that. And that's what the 2019 49ers did. They were a great team.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see when reality hits the 49ers. I don't know. I mean, I think it will, but maybe they're right. Maybe they're going to prove themselves this year with Jimmy Garoppolo or something. Maybe. Bono says, Grant, what type of wine you buying your father? I haven't decided yet, but I haven't lost yet.
You haven't
lost
yet?
I haven't lost yet.
Are you one of those guys that's like, I'll see it when he takes his first snap?
Hell yeah. Knowing Kyle Shanahan, you never know.
He's a starter. I hate it.
I haven't lost yet. Okay. This is theoretical, and I sprung this on you at the last minute, so you don't have to say anything brilliant. I have some things some ideas, something I've been thinking about. It's like a good way to take stock of a unit or scout a unit is to think, how would you attack it? Or if you were a GM in the NFC West and you had to go through the Niners, like what are you prioritizing? What do you have to have in your defense to stand a chance?
Pass rush and linebackers who are disciplined and can cover. Because for right now, with Jimmy Garoppolo, you need to cover the middle of the field. Yeah. And you'll take your chances outside the numbers either way. All you would need is just
that's true.
Solid coverage outside, but you need middle linebackers who can clog up the middle and stop the run, obviously, and then pass rush. Just get in his face, and hit the quarterback and attack right guard, attack right tackle if they're not, playing well, or attack whoever is struggling. So, I mean, this sounds like a way to stop anybody, but particularly when it comes to Jimmy Garoppolo, you got to sit in the middle of the field. You just have to sit in the middle of the field and limit those passes, limit those windows that he can get them in, get him off his first read, and then you'll be successful that way. But if the 49ers are rolling, they're running the ball, there's pretty much like no way to stop them unless they're just turning the ball over and doing things that are done. So I would say pass rush, middle linebackers who are disciplined, can stop the run and cover, and just solid coverage on the outside. You don't even need a one, right? Like you don't need a one. Like you just need a guy who is solid, can keep a person in front of them while the rest of the defense does work.
You need solid run defense. You don't have to have the best run defense in the league. You need solid run defense.
There's no way to stop the Shanahan running offense. You can just
limit it. Shanahan stops it under pressure in the fourth quarter. That's the only time. You're right. Only Shanahan can stop that running. Just like only Dean Smith could stop Michael Jordan back in the day. You need that. You also need, as you said, athletes in the middle of the field. Not at cornerback as much as linebacker and safety. Cardinals have that. They're trying. They've spent 2 first-round picks on linebackers, and they got Budda Baker. Meanwhile, they have the worst starting corners in the league. So I wonder if they've been building their defense with this team in mind. The other thing you need, you said pass rush, of course. I think if you just have 2 guys, you're in business, and it's an inside and an outside guy that you can put next to each other on the right side of the Niners line, like a Frank Clark and a Chris Jones, or a J.J. Watt and a Chandler Jones. If you can do that, the Niners are in trouble, because now you got both guys isolated. So, I mean, that's we just named like 5 or 6 players that you need. It's hard, but that's how I would do it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just talking about it. I'm just talking about a Jimmy Garoppolo style offense. That's not how you're going to stop Trey Lance.
Exactly. Once Trey Lance comes in, all of a sudden now your corners are necessary, because he's going to be throwing outside really more than over the middle. If he's missing high, you want him throwing outside.
And that threat, to even have that, is there. People are not going to be able to press guys and not going to be able to sit like in the middle of the field like that. That's just not Trey's style. So you have to change everything up. It's literally 2 different defenses to stop both of these guys, just in their playing styles.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, now let's go to the other side. How would you build the ideal offense to beat the 49ers defense?
I mean, you would, if you have 3 really good wide receivers, like let's say the Buccaneers, Mike Davis, Godwin, Antonio Brown, and a guy who can get the ball out quickly, like Tom Brady. He's not going to let the pass rush get there. You're going to struggle to stop all 3 of those guys, especially if Emanuel Mosley's not out there. Just how it is. So I think wide receivers, guys who can attack this secondary, not the safeties really, because you're not going to get that off on Tard and Ward. Those guys clean up everything else, but you want to beat the corners, right? You want to have Emanuel Mosley on the number 2 for the Bucs of Chris Godwin, or maybe this game it's Mike Evans. Both of those guys are going to probably have their way, and I would say it's that, honestly, more than anything, is how you attack, because you can try to run the ball against this defense, but I feel like the run defense is solid, and it's not going to be a problem at all. So it would just have to be a quarterback who knows how to get the ball out quickly, and wide receivers who can get open against these corners. I believe it would be the best way.
I think there's another way you can do it, and the mobile quarterback. Because if you have the mobile quarterback like Kyler, first of all, the zone read puts a lot of pressure on that wide 9. You almost kind of have to play a different front. Like when the Niners play the Ravens, they don't play wide 9 at all. They go with the 5-man front. And then also, like, the way the Niners are coached to play in the defensive line, they don't really think much about containment. It's all about get upfield and cause pressure, and that's great against guys like Jared Goff this weekend. They're going to make him look sick. But, I mean, even Bosa, all these defensive ends, not Ebukam so much, but Ford, Bosa, Armstead, they'll come way upfield and give up that easy scramble lane. And once you can get away from the Niners defensive line,
It's the gaps. Sometimes they get out of their gaps. They get out of the places that they, like the contain is there, but then there's always this big, massive gap for Kyle to look through and go through. So, I mean, I'm interested to see. The only reason I won't say that right now is because I'm interested to see how D'Amico plans to deal with this, right? So it could change. Under Saleh, we knew that for a fact that it was any running quarterback was about to do damage, but I'm going to withhold judgment until I see them against it. From what we saw with Trey Lance, they were having a tough time with that.
Yeah, and I think what Saleh's point would be is, dude, anyone struggles against mobile quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you tell me how to keep Kyler Murray in the pocket, Grant. How do you do that? That's true. But I think just these, like Bosa in particular, is much more suited to take down a pocket quarterback than a mobile quarterback. I mean, Kyler can make him miss. Kyler can make anyone miss. But yeah, I would say someone who's the number one pick in the draft, that kind of an athlete at quarterback, really is necessary against the Niners defense.
Right.
Oscar says, Grant, the Niners could start their first drive in the red zone and send Lance in. That's what I'm saying. They could go instant. They could have Elijah Mitchell just bypass the whole first drive, take him down to the 17, and then boom, Lance is in. I win the. I have to be an idiot, a freaking idiot, to buy the bottle of wine right now. I'm not conceding defeat. Hell no. Absolutely not. This is personal. anyway.
Oh man.
We're done right before the football game starts. Yeah. Well, I wanted to knock this out. I want to go watch that football game.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this is a good show.
A punter just put the ball in the 2, so that'll show me.
Boom. All right, everyone. Thank you for watching. And go check out Jason's show in a half hour.
Yeah, 9 o'clock. My channel, Sprint Right Option Podcast. We're gonna break down week 1. Me and Andrew Pasquini. Check you guys in.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, everyone. Later.